Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most common reasons that pesky check engine light decides to ruin your day. We're going to crack the code on a specific error that, let's be honest, can cause a major headache.
You know the feeling, right? You're just driving along, minding your own business, and boom, that little orange engine symbol lights up your dashboard. Your heart sinks a little, and you immediately start wondering, okay, how bad is this going to be? Well, if you've already plugged in a scanner and pulled a code, you are way ahead of the game.
And the code we're zeroing in on today is P0107. Think of this as the #1 clue in our little diagnostic mystery. It's a very specific message from your car's computer, and by the time we're done here, you'll know exactly what it's trying to tell you.
All right, first things first, let's decode this thing. What on earth is your car actually trying to say when it throws a P0107 code at you?
So, the official fancy name is Manifold Absolute Pressure Sensor Circuit Low. Whoa, that's a mouthful, but all it really means is this. Your car's brain, the main computer, is listening to a really important sensor, and the signal it's hearing is way too low, way below what it expects to see. It's basically telling you, hey, the data I'm getting here just doesn't make sense.
The absolute best way to picture the map sensor is to think of it as your engine's lungs. Seriously, it measures the air pressure inside the engine's intake to tell the computer exactly how much of a breath the engine is taking in. And that information is absolutely critical for the computer to figure out the perfect amount of fuel to add for a clean, powerful combustion.
Now this is where things can get a little confusing, so let's clear something up. You've probably also heard of a MAF, or mass airflow sensor. They both measure air, but they do it differently. The MAP sensor measures pressure, while the MAF sensor measures the volume of air. Now here's the key. Your car might have one or the other, or sometimes even both. But for our code P0107, our focus is 100% on that MAP sensor. Okay, so we know what the code means. Now let's play detective and figure out what's actually causing it. It's time to investigate the usual suspects behind a P0107. So aside from that annoying light, you're probably feeling some real issues with how your car is driving. Because the computer is getting garbage data, it can't run the engine right. That's why you might have a really rough idle, or the engine might even stall. It might be tough to start, feel super sluggish when you step on the gas, and you might even see black smoke coming out of the tailpipe. That smoke, that's a classic sign the computer is just guessing and dumping way too much fuel in.
So, what's the root of the problem? Well, a lot of the time, the MAP sensor itself has just given up the ghost. It's the most common culprit. But, and this is important, before you run out and buy a new one, you have to check other things first. It could easily be a wiring issue, like a wire rubbing and shorting out, or it could be a cracked vacuum hose that connects to the sensor. It could even be something as simple as a completely clogged up air filter.
And that leads us to the most important part. What do you do about it? We're going to lay out a simple, clear action plan. This is how you go from a confusing code to total clarity and a real solution.
Okay, you've got the code, you know the possible causes, but where do you actually begin the real diagnostic work?
You start with a logical process. Don't just start replacing parts. First, always check if there are any other trouble codes stored. They can give you some amazing clues. Next, do a really good visual inspection. You'd be surprised what you can find just by looking. After that, if you have a scan tool, you can watch the live data from the sensor. And finally, if you're still stumped, you can get out a multimeter and test the wiring itself.
That visual inspection is your secret weapon, I'm telling you. First, you got to find the MAP sensor. It's almost always bolted right onto the engine's intake manifold. Get a good light in there and look closely at the vacuum hose going to it. Is it cracked? Kinked? Then check out the electrical plug. Are the pins clean and straight? And then just trace the wires coming off it as far as you can. See any spots where the insulation is rubbed off? That could be your problem right there.
All right, if you've got a scan tool, this is where it becomes your best friend. Plug it in, turn the key to the on position, but don't start the engine. Look for the MAP sensor data. It should be reading your local atmospheric pressure, which is right around 100 kilopascals at sea level. If you see a number that's super low, like close to 0, that is a massive red flag that something is wrong with the sensor or its circuit.
Okay, now go ahead and start the engine. The second it's running, the engine creates a vacuum, and that reading on your scan tool should drop like a rock, way down, usually under 35 kilopascal. If that number doesn't change at all or it's stuck high or low, well, you've just confirmed the computer isn't seeing the right signal. You're getting super close to the answer.
So, after a little detective work, you've hopefully found the culprit.
Let's talk about the final, most satisfying step, making the fix and clearing that code for good.
The repair should always match the problem you found. Simple, right? If you found a broken wire, you fix the wire. If you found a vacuum line clogged with gunk, you clean it out. And if all your tests point to a bad sensor, well, then it's finally time to replace it. But you're not done yet. The last step is absolutely crucial. Use your scanner to clear the code and then take the car for a good test drive to make sure the light stays off and the problem is really solved.
So here's the biggest thing I want you to take away from all this. A P0107 code can feel like a disaster, but it's not. It's just a clue. It's your car literally pointing you in the right direction and saying, hey, the problem is over here. Come look at this system.
You've just turned a stressful warning light into a totally manageable puzzle. So, now that you have the roadmap, what's your next move?